Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller, and I am kind of at this point in my life where I am evaluating every single area and I'm doing an audit. I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want to be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And I am isolating each and every area of my life, and I'm trying to figure out if this is really for me or if I need to let it go, if I need to pivot, if I need to do something different. And doing this sort of life audit kind of opens your eyes to a lot of different area. And it makes you think about the things that we've allowed into our lives, the things that we have already cut out of our lives, and maybe what is missing from our life. So I go back to this quote all the time. The human brain has thousands and thousands of thoughts every single day, and 80% of those are repeating thoughts. So whenever we are trying to work through something, it can be a constant cycle of these thoughts of, what should I be doing? Maybe I've had an argument or a conflict with someone, and so I'm thinking, how can I move through this, work through this, right? Our mind is constantly thinking and repeating thoughts. This way we can work on those items and then move on from them. Sometimes those thoughts take longer than others to process, and if you want to go further into the statistic, it talks about how a lot of those are actually negative thoughts. And when you can get out of your head, when you can break that cycle, when you can be thinking of different things, so that interruption of your brain, interrupting your patterns, interrupting those negative bad thoughts, that can really help you move past them and start thinking of more positive things or proactive ideas to help you move out of a situation. And so for the past week, and if I'm being honest, the past month, I have been really trying to isolate each and every area of my life and really see if it's serving me or if it needs to go. I always, in the springtime, springtime is just around the corner. Next week we'll have the first day of spring. Daylight savings time, we lost an hour. It's the first Monday back. I hope you are working through it, but with this season comes time of growth, and I was hacking away at my tulips. They're coming out, but there's a lot of growth around it from last summer, and I was trimming it away, and my little garden right in front of my big window. I had some old lamb's ear from last fall that I needed to cut away to allow new growth to come. And I also do this with my house, so I have to clean and get rid of things, donate clothes that I no longer wear that have become ill-fitting, going through my cabinets and just auditing, right? Because springtime is a reminder of growth and new things coming, and the promise of summertime and having those exciting adventures. So I have just been going through each thing in my house, going through each thing in my life, and one of the areas that popped up for me was relationships and friendships, and the idea of other people's acceptance of me or their judgment of me. And I've really been putting a lot of stock in other people's opinion, and this is really no way to live my life at all. And I've really been just evaluating on why other people's opinion means or matters more. And I sometimes go back to an incident or a time, a situation, if you will, where I was talking to someone and the conversation didn't go exactly how I'd planned, or I really think about how I handled that situation or the words that were said by the other person. And I have just been really auditing my professional life as well. And networking is such a big deal of the job that I have right now, and relationships are going to be important, and no matter what area of your life. And I've just been really thinking about the people who I surround myself with and the people who I am giving a lot of my time, energy with. And I found some things that I didn't really like, and I found some things that were a little alarming. And I also was thinking about how my life has progressed since college, and how much of my life that I really, really like, and how much of my life that could use some improvement or need a little bit of change, a little bit of pivoting. And I was really just thinking, it's crazy in our life we make choices, and those choices bring us to a certain environment and a certain situation, and the people who you surround yourself with, you've made a choice to have those people in your life. Even family members, you make a choice to stay in contact, to stay in a relationship, to continuously have them in your life. And that's all a choice. And I think sometimes we forget that we have the ability to change and do the things in our life that we decide. And if we're allowing other people to change the trajectory of our life, then who are we actually living for? We're not living for ourselves, we're living for other people. And I was just thinking, why do we put so much stock in other people's opinion, and why do we have this sort of idea that what they say about us, or our reputation, or our self-worth is all held in this person's like mind or idea, when they might not know us fully. They might not know all parts of us. They might not know the ins and outs of our life, or the things that we really enjoy, or the things that kind of bring us pain. So why would we allow them to steer the ship, if you will? And I was just thinking that where I've strayed is I haven't been exactly in alignment with myself. I have been imitating or kind of going after something that isn't mine, right? Like I was and am, I'm trying to disrupt this pattern, but I have been trying so hard to fit in an area that I absolutely do not belong. I feel, and once I acknowledged this, I felt so much relief, because I was able to pinpoint the problem. I was able to actually know, okay, this is what has been really irritating me. This is why I've been in such a bad mood. And I've decided right then, because when we acknowledge the problem, then we're steps ahead to actually fix and solve the problem. But I've been thinking to myself, you know, I have allowed myself and the things that make me me, I've allowed them to go astray, and I have been trying to replicate something that someone else has done, or replicate the personality of someone so that I can be more like them. And maybe you feel this way too with some areas of your life, or people that you see that you really think they have it all going on, and they're just so amazing, and their life is perfect, and they are just rocking it. And so we start picking up some of their habits, and we start picking up some of the things that they do. And if this is a person that we would trade lives with or trade closets with, then maybe those are some good things. But I was realizing these areas that I'm having problems in. I would not want to switch lives with this person. I would not want to trade closets with them either. And I was just becoming really, really unhappy with this misalignment and this gluing myself to something that isn't sticking, you know, like it's just not sticking. It's not what it needs to be. And when we are forcing ourselves into groups or situations where we just don't belong, and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, how do I know that I don't belong? Because I want to belong, I want to be in it. Everything that is for you will come to you. And I really, really believe this, because when we are chasing after and forcing the things that we want so, so bad and we're working for it, but if it doesn't align with our true feelings, if it isn't really what needs to be in our life, then it's not going to come to us. And we might feel a lot of this pressure, or kind of this, it feels like two pieces of metal just grinding together, right? Like it's not as smooth. It's not where you need to be. And when you journal, or you get those thoughts out of your mind that are repeating and repeating, and you're thinking about this situation and that situation, and I should have handled that better, and I should have done this, and if only I was like this person, then I would be, you know, better and more liked. But if you can get those thoughts out, if you can journal, if you can write them down, then you are so much closer to being more aligned with yourself, and sitting in thought and actually seeing what you want, and thinking on how you can get there. You might have to start weeding out some things that aren't in alignment with you, with your goals, or who you want to be. And usually when you have been trying to force yourself in a friend group or a situation, that's where you find this this interruption, this kind of anxiety, or this thought process where it's going in and out all over your head, and it's a bit messy, right? But if you can get super, super deep in thought, and if you can think about the things that you want, and truly your inner being and your inner self, then you can get in alignment with yourself, and that allows the things that are meant to be for you, and the people who are meant to be in your life, actually allow them to come into your life, because you're not forcing other things. When we are focusing so hard on something, we aren't able to allow the other things in, right? Like if I am working so hard to be friends with someone who doesn't want to be friends with me, if I am trying really hard to imitate them, to buy the right things, to wear the right clothes, and I'm focusing all this energy into this relationship and it's not working, I don't have enough energy for that right person, that right situation to come into my life, because we only have so many hours in the day. We only have so much energy in our life. And if we're spending it all on the wrong person or the wrong job or the wrong thing, then we're unable to allow the energy to go towards the friend, the person, the job that we really need and want. And I was thinking to myself, like, this pattern has been with me for a while. I think back to high school, and I was a kid who moved around a little bit. My parents were separated when I was pretty young, and then my mom married my stepdad, and he was in the military. We moved to Georgia, and we moved a few times in Georgia. And then we moved to Iowa, and we moved twice in Iowa, and that movement had me in front of new friends all the time, right? Trying to make friends fast, trying to fit into a new group, trying to hope that they like me, and trying to find that community, right? And sometimes I would have to change myself a little bit. In Georgia, I had to be a little bit someone different to be around the friends that I wanted to be friends with, or the group that I wanted to be. And it's crazy, I cannot remember a single friend in Georgia that I stayed connected to, really. I guess that's because it was first, second, and third grade, but then I think into middle school, the friends that I wanted to be like in Iowa, and how I had to change and alter myself to be able to fit into this group, and then even more so when we moved to my high school spot. It was very sports oriented, and although like my family wasn't really into athletics, like I changed and I wanted to be in athletics, or I wanted to be in choir, even though I was a really, really bad singer. And then like we weren't in choir. I didn't go to choir freshman year or anything, but like 7th and 8th grade I was in choir because that was the thing to do. That's a popular thing to do. Or trying out for basketball, even though I didn't really like basketball, and altering who I was to fit into groups. Now, I think it's okay to try new things, of course, and open yourself up to making mistakes and going out for hobbies that might be good for you, just to try new things, because that is such a developmental stage in our life. But I found myself, you know, changing who I was to match the energy of the group that I wanted to be in. And I remember in high school wanting so bad to be in this group, and I was trying to wear the same things. You know, they all had Miss Me jeans, so I had to have Miss Me jeans. They were braiding their hair a certain way. They had the popular girls were in volleyball, and so they had the super stretchy pre-wrap as headbands, and they would wear the headbands, and they would wear Nike shorts and an oversized shirt, and had these certain clothes that I would try to imitate. Or they would all, I remember the first time I got highlights is because one of my friends had gotten highlights, and I wanted to be just like her. And they went in certain classes, right? Like I personally was a very artsy person. I love to be creative. And so this kind of was in alignment, but also not in alignment, because all the cool kids were in art class. And so they would take a bunch of art classes, and I wanted to be part of that group. So I took a lot of art classes. They would all skip lunch. I was freaking hungry all the time. I love food. I love lunch. And they would instead skip lunch and get food out of the vending machine and hang out in one of the classrooms, whether that was for a yearbook or art class, because we were working on art projects. So doing all of these things, I realized that I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, and I wanted to be part of this group. And I remember finally being a part of the group and thinking, oh my gosh, like this is exhausting, because I'm having to pretend to be someone that I'm not. I'm having to like these things that I don't really like, or care about these things that I don't really care about. And it wasn't until I started thinking to myself, hey, like, I actually don't want to be a part of this group. I don't like the things that they're caring about, or I don't like the drama that comes with it, or I don't like the fights, the arguments, whatever. And so I started to distance myself a little bit, and I decided when I was a senior that I absolutely was going to be pursuing other things. And I applied for school in Missouri. It was close to my dad, and I left it all. Now, there of course are people from high school that I love to catch up with, and people from that friend group that I still you know, love to see on social media, and I hope that they're doing great. And we all have these experiences, right? And it wasn't until I really thought on, why do I want to be a part of this group so much? Why do I care about their opinions, or want them to think that I'm popular or nice or funny, well-liked? You know, I think being well-liked is what a lot of people chase after. We want to find that community. We want to have that acceptance. And I just felt like I was forcing myself to be somewhere I did not belong. And so senior year, I started to pursue other friendships and be friends with people that I wasn't friends with in the beginning. And I found some really, really good, genuine relationships that I still talk to and I still hang out with and really enjoy. And then of course, college came around for me, and I went to college, and I wanted to be a part of a sorority because I love my sorority, and I grew up watching, sororities on TV, and I really wanted to be part of a community that was all about personal growth, and that was wanting to better ourselves and the philanthropic work. And I decided that's what I was going to do. I was going to join a sorority. And even in a sorority, and I think all groups, you're going to become friends with the people who are most like you, right? Like, we are drawn to similarities in other people. And so I found my friends very quickly, and it was easy, and I didn't really have to pretend. It was all very natural. And it wasn't until I wanted to pursue leadership positions where I started to care more about what people thought of me, or care about their acceptance, or being in the right group, or being friends with the right people, doing the right things. I personally commuted back and forth from school, so it was very difficult. There was some times where I didn't get to go to early morning breakfast or late night dining hall because I lived at home. And I think although my situation was different, it was still very good for me, and it's what I needed in the moment. I, of course, was also friends with people in my major, and I was friends with people in my minors, like my classes that were minors, like marketing and business administration. And then I was friends with the agriculture group because I was an agriculture major, and then I was also friends with my sorority. And I even saw myself changing a little bit for each group, or wearing something a little slightly different for each group. This isn't because I was trying to, manipulate or anything, but it's what you feel comfortable in, right? And I feel like we all have altered versions of ourselves for certain things, right? Like, what you are going to wear and the personality you have with your very best friends on a Saturday night is going to be very, very different than Sunday brunch with your grandmother, right? Like, you're going to wear different things. You're going to change yourself in some ways just a little bit. And so whenever I was hanging out with my agriculture friends, I was wearing my jeans, and I was wearing, my Twisted X moccasins. I was wearing maybe a belt, and I was in a hoodie, right? And when I was with my sorority friends, I was more like in a pair of ripped jeans and a pair of Converse, with maybe like a sorority shirt. When I was with my business major classes, I was more professional because I did a lot of contests in college. So it was more of like a professional environment, and I felt like I was almost forcing myself to be a certain way in each of these groups. Like, I was supposed to be really, really outgoing in all of these groups. I was supposed to have this certain knowledge or that certain knowledge, or talk about these things. And it really, really wears you out when you're trying to be everything for everyone, right? And it was a bit of a misalignment. Now, I really feel like I have all these parts of me, right? Like, I live on a farm. I love country stuff to a point. I'm more farm than country, right? Like, it's just different from what you see portrayed on social media. Like, it's just different, right? I've always been around cattle, corn, soybeans, like all of those things. But I just don't always wear boots, right? I love green juices, and I love yoga, and I love reading books and gardening. And I think we can be multifaceted people, but I think it's when we are trying so hard to stick with a certain group or a certain feeling or a certain thing in our life that we have to be all this one thing. And if we don't comply, then we aren't liked, or people might think, oh my gosh, like, you love to take care of your body, and you love to work out, and you love to drink green juice, but then you also love to eat ice cream and watch movies and work cattle. And whenever we work cattle, I love to drink a Coke and have a payday bar. Like, I think balance is good, and I think that all part of our lives can be honored and can still stick with us, right? Like, we're allowed to do more than one thing, but it's when we decide, hey, like, I'm only going to do this one thing. I'm only going to hang out with these people. I'm going to imitate it in the best way that I can. And I'm going to just take everything that this one person does, I'm going to do the same exact thing because I want to be well liked. I want to be accepted. And if I don't do these things, then I won't be able to fit in. But I really think that for me, it got good when I started just welcoming all sides of me, and I started welcoming all the things that make me Logan, and knowing that the people who are supposed to be in my life will come into my life. So I had that mindset, especially junior, senior year of college, and then going into the workforce. I think it's another pivot, right? Like, we have middle school and high school, and if you go to college, you have college and then you have work, right? And I am struggling a little bit with finding the perfect balance and finding exactly who I am and what aligns with me in the friendships and the relationships that I want to have. And we see on social media, like, the cool crowd. We see people who are doing all the right things, and I just, of course, I find inspiration from them, right? And I'm like, oh, they're showing up super, super cool. I love how they're doing that. I love what they're wearing. I love their outfits. I want to wear something like that. I want to do something like that. And it can lead almost to a false reality of yourself, and it can also lead to losing part of yourself and losing what really makes you amazing. So I have been just journaling about a lot of my past, and also like what I want my future to look like, and what habits I need to start implementing, and the things that I need to start doing. And I've also, when I was doing this, there's a lot of my life that I feel like I've become a little bit complacent. I've become just, it's part of the mundane, day in, day out, like, this is what we're doing. And when you do something every single day and you have this habit, you're choosing that, right? Like, even the things that we aren't changing, right? Like, if we're not changing it, we're choosing it. So if I wake up every single day and I don't eat breakfast because I'm running late, I'm choosing to not eat breakfast and to run late. But if I come home later that evening and I meal prep a meal and I put it together, and then the next morning I can choose to have breakfast because I meal prepped it. I'm choosing that lifestyle. I'm choosing to do that next thing. So if we're not changing it, we're choosing it. This can go for our relationships. This can go for our habits, our life, everything. So I have just been really trying to decide if I want to choose this thing or if I want to change this thing. My closet, I've been going through my closet, and I've been trying to find the things that make me happy and the things that look good on my body and that are going to give me confidence. I've been going through my makeup cabinet. I don't really wear that much makeup anymore because I have been getting a monthly facial, and I have been getting skincare products that help my skin tone and help the overall appearance of my skin. I've got Botox. Like, I have been trimming my eyebrows and glossing them up or gelling them up. Like, I have a lot of old makeup that I got because of a TikTok trend, or because I saw some on Instagram like using it. I was like, oh, I want to be like that person on Instagram, right? Like, I'm imitating these people because I want to be well liked. And when we see success in other people, we might want to replicate it. Oh my gosh, what do I have to do to be well liked? What do I have to do for those Instagram likes? What do I have to do to be just like them, or to have that thing? And that might mean that you have a whole makeup drawer, right? Like if you're a 2016 baby, you know all about the makeup industry and the crazy things that they inspired us to purchase, to buy, to have. I mean, don't even get me started on highlighters. Like those were insane. So I'm going through my drawers. I'm trying to find those things that don't align with the person that I want to be. And this not only goes for the stuff that you already have, the things that you're trying to clean out, the clothes that you have that you don't want anymore, but it also goes for the things that you're trying to bring into your life and the things that you are purchasing or inheriting or picking up. And I really think to myself, before I purchase a pair of jeans or I buy something from a swap shop, or I sign up for a course or this or that, like whatever, I always ask myself, like, would my highest self be doing this? Would the next version of myself be doing this or buying this or wearing this when I'm 35, 10 years from now? Will I want to be doing these things? I know I'm going to change. I know I'm going to evolve. I know the things that matter to me right now might not matter to me in the future, but I try to really just get with alignment on where I want to be, who I want to be, and what I want to be surrounding myself with. And I've just decided that I'm not going to be allowing other people's opinions or their feelings, thoughts, whatever, like that person that might have some influence in my life or might have some say in a certain area, but I'm not going to allow them to completely steer the ship, if you will. I'm not going to allow them to have so much opinion and have so much feeling in my life where I am allowing their voice to be louder than my voice. And kind of drowning them out a little bit with the things that I actually want. And we'll never ever know inside what we truly want until we lean into that, until we allow ourselves to have that, that space to be allowed to voice our opinions. This is a hard thing. It is very scary to go outside of the box, to change the person who you are into the person that you want to be. People are used to a certain version of you. They are used to you following a certain status, if you will, or doing a certain thing. But really our personalities are just our habits. So if you want to change your personality, if you want to change your life, all you have to do is change your habits. All you have to do is start breaking those bad habits and replacing them with good habits that are gonna make you feel more fulfilled and point you to the right direction. This is gonna be messy growth though. It's going to be messy, but you just have to ask yourself, why are you seeking others' validation? Why are you seeking their validation? Why aren't you seeking your own validation? Because nobody is going to have to wake up and feel the feelings that you do every single day. Okay, so the people that you surround yourself with, the people that you're allowing to have so much say in your life, they aren't waking up with you every single day and feeling your feelings, right? Like they have their own things. We also have to understand that our life is our life and it's a big deal to us, right? Like we have these aspirations, these feelings, these thoughts for a reason, and other people don't have the same thoughts, opinions, feelings about our life that we do, right? Like they truly do not care. If you actually think about it, they do not care at all. They care about their life. They care about the things that make them happy and the areas of their life that they need to improve. So when you are putting it into that perspective, why do we care about their validation? Because they truly don't care about what's best for us. They don't really care about our joys and our inspirations and what we want to do So take the power back. Take the power from the people that you have allowed to have it, whether they know it or not, because sometimes they literally, like I said, don't care about your life, don't care about your feelings. That might be a little rude to say, but it's the truth, right? Nobody thinks about the things that you think about more than you think about them because they're about you, right? Like, so take the power back. Don't allow them to have so much say in your life over things that won't even matter in 10 years, right? Like the people you are around right now, very few of them will be around in 10, 20, 30 years, right? The people who you might talk to every single day, they might not talk to you in 5 years, and it might be something you did, it might be something they did, but we shouldn't allow temporary people to have so much say in our life. And it just comes from allowing them to have that power in our life, allowing them to have so much say, so much opinion for no reason, right? Like, but when we are able to get real with ourselves and get into our innermost being, when we can write down the things we want and we can get in alignment with that, that's when we actually can say, okay, I know that this is not for me because I want to do other things, right? Like when we know what we want, we can say no to the things that we know we don't want. So when you journal, when you write down, okay, this is what I want to do, this is the area of my life that I'm going to isolate, this is what I'm going to work on for the next 8 weeks, this is the thing, I want to get more organized, I want to, you know, top to bottom, start some new habits, I'm going to completely jumpstart my life. If that's you, you know, I'm dropping a course April 1st, about 8 weeks for totally and completely transforming your life. So if that's you, sign up down below. There's a little email list, like get more information on that. Or maybe it's you want to get in the gym, you want to get completely fit. Take the next 3 months and order, you know, maybe some supplements, some protein powder, get a coach and start really taking it seriously. So when you know, when you can get super, super aligned and super definite, okay, these are the things that I want to do, then you can start crowding out the things that you don't want to do and crowding out the voices that you don't want in your life. And when you are just forcing it and it feels so hard and it feels like it's so much energy, you know that's absolutely not for you. If it's taking that much effort, that much energy from your life, then it's probably not for you. Maybe it's a relationship and you really, really want it to work out. I mean, I know there was totally so many relationships that I thought this is gonna be it. I just like them so much, like this is exactly what I wanted. And maybe I was changing myself just a little bit to be in that relationship better, to be a better girlfriend, to be a better all-around individual, like the same things that they like, do the things that they like. And it didn't work out for a reason, right? Because I was so focused on forcing myself to make a relationship work that wasn't for me, that wasn't my future husband, then I wasn't allowing the person who was actually supposed to be in my life to be able to come into my life because I was so distracted with someone else, right? And so it wasn't until I completely just definitively said, this is not the relationship for me, I'm done, I'm out, I am going to be focusing on things that make me happy and getting more aligned with myself, then that's when Garrett came into my life, right? Like that's when it all happened, because I wasn't trying to force something to work. I wasn't trying to force that relationship. Friendships, you know, we can idolize the perfect girl in our class who we want to be best friends with. And we can think, oh my gosh, they're so perfect. They have perfect skin, perfect teeth. They go to the perfect parties. I want to be just like them. And then we start changing ourselves a little bit and we're like, oh my gosh, I want to be just like them. And we're forcing ourselves. And then when we force it, it's not fun. And maybe we do become friends with them. And maybe we get invited to the parties and we get to hang out and do the things, but we know it's a lie on the inside. We know it doesn't make us feel good. We know it's not exactly where we're supposed to be. And because it feels hard. And when we let go of that relationship, that friendship, or the opinions of others and what we're supposed to wear and what we're supposed to do, then we can allow a organic relationship to cultivate with someone who actually has the same values that you do, or the same life goals that you do, and who are gonna push you and be your champion to chase after your goals. Like, when you allow the hard things to just dissipate from your life, then you're able to allow the good things to come in and the things that are meant for you to come in. But I know it's hard. I know all on paper it sounds great, and when we write it down, we're like, oh, this is going to be so easy. I'm going to be able to achieve my goals. And you write it down on what your life is going to look like and what you want to do. And it's going to be hard. It is hard work. It's hard work to break out of those things in your life that have always been like that, the routines, the habits. These things could have been going on for years, right? Like, until we've acknowledged them and isolated them and decided that we're going to change them. So be gentle with yourself. Like, it's not going to be easy. You might hurt some feelings, okay? When you are distancing yourself from an individual that you no longer see any value in, that's not to say that they're a bad person or they're not worthy of being your friend. It just means that in this point in your life, you just don't want to be friends with them, right? And it's the same thing that if you were forcing yourself to be friends with someone else and they don't want to be friends with you, it's no hard feelings. There's just that misalignment, right? So when you're starting to distance yourself from those friends and family members or co-workers or anybody in your life who you just don't see the alignment with anymore, you are doing yourself a disservice if you stay in that relationship, if you stay forcing yourself in something that is just not going to work. And you can try every day, and you might know deep down, right? Like, we all know deep down that this is not the thing for us, and we think about it constantly, and these are the stressors in our life, and it is just on repeat in our head, right? Like, this should have gone different, or I don't feel like my best self when I'm in this position or this relationship or what I'm doing. And you have to make the decision. You might hurt some feelings, but the only feelings that we really and truly care about are your own, right? Like, of course we want to take into consideration other people, but when it boils down to it, your feelings matter and what you want matter as well. So if you are putting so much stock into someone else's opinion or feelings and you are not allowing your opinions or feelings to be heard, then oh my gosh, whose life are you living? Are you living for theirs? Like, they already have their own life and they already have the things that make them happy and the things that they're doing. Make yourself happy. Do the things that are going to make you happy and aligned, and stop forcing yourself where you don't belong. You know deep down where you belong and where you don't belong. You know what feels easy and what feels hard. Maybe you're in college for a major that your parents really, really want you to do, right? Like, they want you to be a doctor. They're so proud of their little pre-med student, and you're taking the classes, but you absolutely hate it. And you're crying every single day, and you're failing chemistry, and you are just getting bad grades, and it is not good. Change it up. It's your life. You might hurt some feelings. Your parents might be a little sad in the beginning, but when you start becoming that person that you're meant to become, and you are glowing because you are on the right path and you are aligned with yourself and you're aligned with the things that make you happy, they're going to be okay with it. They're going to want the best for you, right? Because they're our parents, and it's your life, and deep down they know that too. If it is a friendship, it's not working, it's toxic. If it's a relationship that's just really, really not, it's not good anymore, break it off. Stop hanging out with them. Like, it seems so simple. I know it's hard, but you have to choose yourself. You have to stop choosing everyone else around you. You need to start choosing yourself and choosing the things that are going to make you happy, nobody else, because it is spring, okay? We had all winter We had winter to work on the things that made us happy, and maybe we're laying the groundwork, but it's spring, okay? You've got to start in the trajectory that you're wanting to go in, because time is passing on, right? Like, and you don't want to be in the same spot you were this time last year, right? You want to grow, you want to evolve. And so this time next year, if you didn't take that really uncomfortable action right now to get to where you want to go, then you're going to be regretful, and come next April, you're going to be sitting in this spot and you're going to, oh my gosh, like, I hate everything. Or, oh my gosh, like, I wish I would have had the guts. I wish I would have had the courage. I wish I would have just stepped out into faith and knowing that I can take care of myself, right? Like, I am a capable human being. Worst case scenario, no matter what, I'm going to be able to get myself out of this situation, and I'm going to be able to pivot and do things for the better to where I'm going to be happier, right? Because it can take uncomfortable action to disrupt this thought and to disrupt this habit and make us move forward into the next version of ourselves. Nothing is achieved easily that is going to be worthwhile, right? Like, anything that is worthwhile is going to take a little bit of guts. It's going to take a little bit of courage, and it's going to take consistency to get to where you want to be. And so when you're having to change and pivot, it's not always going to feel great. You might second guess yourself. Oh my gosh, Logan, you're saying if it's hard, like if I'm pushing myself to fit in somewhere I don't belong and I feel uncomfortable and it's not serving me. But then also I need to be chasing after something that is going to make me happier, and maybe that's going to be hard too. It will be both hard, okay? It's going to be hard to stay somewhere where you feel like you are wearing a mask and you feel like you are trying to be a person that you're not. It's also going to be hard to work towards the person that you are most aligned with. But what's different between the two is the first one, you feel shitty because you're not feeling like yourself, right? Like, you are feeling this way because you are pretending to be someone who you're not. The second one, you're going to be feeling better because you know where you're supposed to be. You know who you're supposed to become, and you're going to feel aligned. It's going to be hard, but you know inside your soul that this is where you're supposed to be, and it's the thing that lights you up. Back to the thoughts in our head that are constantly coming in, right? Like, we have thoughts over and over and over, right? And some of those are negative, and some of those are the things that you need to be changing and working on. But also, we know the thoughts in our head that we are constantly having that we want to do, right? Like, you know what you want to do, and you know what lights you up, and you know what you're passionate about. So that's what you need to be leaning into. I definitely recommend journaling about this, trying to get in alignment. Think about the things that you want to be doing and go from there. So you know what you want, and you know those areas in your life that you might be forcing a little too hard, that aren't coming naturally, that you don't feel any sort of a good feeling or alignment around. So just, you got to journal it, right? And nobody can tell you what or where you need to go or what direction you need to take except for yourself. So I'm sending you so much love on this Monday episode. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, bye.